This is an SM Media production.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media East of Scotland football show. I'm Scotland Pike. It's always a pleasure to be your host. I'm really looking forward to this week's episode. We obviously didn't have one last week, but we do have a very special guest in this week's episode. It is a pleasure to welcome the manager of Tweedmouth Rangers. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome Kev Wright.
Thanks for having us, Scott.
Always a pleasure, mate. Looking forward to obviously talking to you about the season so far. We're getting into the kind of exciting times where obviously all four divisions, there's a lot to play for. In terms of the standard of East of Scotland this year, this is in the first year doing the shows, but we've covered it for a long time. I think the standard is as good as I've ever seen.
Yeah, 100%. I think some of the teams, they've really stepped up, and let's be honest, some of the teams that are normally maybe down the bottom end, they've kind of overachieved this year, and you can see that. I mean, for a couple of teams like Edinburgh South, they spring to mind straight away. They're having a late surge, and I think Heart Hill Royal. I mean, last season they finished rock bottom, and look at them this season. They're pushing for promotion into League Two. So no, I think the standard's higher than ever. I mean, you can talk about your bonuses and things like that till you're blue in the face. Some of the football standards really high this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look at the division, obviously Tweedmouth are in the second division, and we've seen obviously the third division promoted side go straight up, and it looks as if they're going to win the title. Armadale looks as if they're going to finish third or like kind of challenge for third place. There's a really good kind of level coming up as well. How do you assess Tweedmouth's season so far? Because you look at the position in 13th, and I think a lot of people would have said, I think the start was a bit difficult. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that, and we'll get your thoughts on it. But I look kind of basically from the likes of kind of October onwards, some really good results and runs in there. So what was it about the start that you found kind of difficult, and how good is it to have that kind of run after the end of October to kind of put you in a good position to hopefully stay up?
Well, I mean, it goes without saying it was hard. First 10, 11 games without a point, trying to keep everybody going, trying to keep the vibe, trying to keep everybody, keep pushing forward. But obviously, I came in, lost a few core players, bit of a transitional thing. You bring in some players to obviously top up the squad, because I think last season they struggled numbers wise. The players that I had, I mean, the team was a very good team, and obviously I'm going to be biased, but I feel the team is very good now. But obviously at the start, there was a bit of a change period, and having to try a few different people and positions that maybe didn't. Obviously, some worked, some didn't. But obviously the switch in play and how we wanted to play, just get a few of the guys to bed into that. And obviously from October onwards, in fact, I would say just before October, we picked up some quality signings as well. Some really good young lads that have come in, and they've made a difference to the team. I mean, you look at the first 10 games to the second 10 games, completely different world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's absolutely fair enough. And it's really kind of caught my eye just how well you obviously did on from then. And you look at the level of opposition. I mean, there are some really good sides in that second division. Who's kind of jumped out as the best teams you've come up against?
Well, one of the easiest answers is Boneff Athletic, which I think we actually competed quite well with, which is quite. I think we actually. I think Willie said in the second game, which funny enough was the only game I've missed all season, but the coaching staff done us proud. They actually put a thing on their website and things saying they couldn't understand why we were where we were in the league and things like that. But I mean, you can't stop them. You have to praise the quality that's in there. Some of them players are unbelievable. I mean, you look at them, and I don't think there's many who would disagree that they feel and look like a Premier League side, if not beyond. I was quite impressed with East Houses this year.
Okay.
I think they're one of those teams that you kind of think they're kind of up and down in the past, but Davy's done a good job. And I mean, they absolutely battered us midweek at home during that first period. And I think they were quite good when we played them. I mean, the win kind of ruined the game on the day, but they took their chances, and I was quite impressed with them.
And obviously, kind of looking at the results, a lot of good like kind of away wins in there as well. But the one result that jumps out actually really impressed me was the result just before Christmas, 4-1 at home to Dalkeith. And then that kind of started. Obviously, you've done well away to Stirling Uni the week before. That would you see that was a kind of turning point of the season? Like obviously Dalkeith, very good side, were a lot of people's tips for promotion. To beat them 4-1 at home, was that a point where you thought, right, we're getting there, there's something beginning to clack, and then from there, there's been some good results to take away from the season?
The Dalkeith game as a whole, as an overall performance, was by far and away probably the best.
Right.
We came out the blocks, as you said. That I mean, it's cliche, but everything clicked. Everything clicked that day. One of the fullbacks who's been there for years, we actually had a laugh afterwards because at one point he even walked past our dugout and he went, "We can't maintain this intensity the whole game." And then at the end of the game, when we walked in the changing room, he went, "How did we maintain that intensity the whole game?" To be honest, I think Dalkeith just got shell shocked that day. I think they were missing a couple of core boys, but it was one of those days where just everything clicked, and obviously my front line was on fire that day.
What about the ground situation as well? Obviously, it's been that's been one that I was kind of keen to get your thoughts on. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about it to kind of understand what's been going on, but I was hoping you would maybe kind of fill us in and what that's been like as a whole this season, and is that kind of a situation that's kind of getting sorted now?
I'll be completely honest with you. The current chairman, because the old chairman actually took over at Berwick Rangers. So obviously he knows the club, and the ground share was kind of done through that. That was all organised before I came back to the club.
Okay.
But the one thing I will say about the ground share is I think I kind of caught a few guys out because for those that don't know, Shieldfield's it's a big old pitch.
Yeah.
And at the start, I think some of the guys actually struggled, to put it politely, with the sheer size of it. And one of the things obviously we worked on is pure fitness and things like that. And I think some of the guys have stepped up and now can play. But because I'll be honest, there's a couple of the games where we beat teams, I think we purely beat them because the pitch kind of played to our advantage. But then again, you play some teams where it plays to theirs. But I think obviously a lot of grounds. I mean, I don't need to tell you about how bad the weather's been in a hell of a lot of games. I mean, I've never known so many games to be called off. But obviously, with having the two teams on it, there has been an element of issues there. But I mean, the groundsman at our at Shieldfield, Ross Aitchison, he's unbelievable. Some of the games he's got on and the pitch, just unbelievable. But I mean, it's one of those. I think you speak to some of the guys like playing at Shieldfield more than the old place. Some guys like the old place, but you're never going to keep everyone happy.
Yeah, no, of course, I think that's absolutely fair enough. In terms of a couple of players I kind of want to single out, and I'm sure there'll be more that you'll like to mention as well, but obviously, we do the player of the week and we do obviously kind of roundups and things like that. And two players that always jump out to me every single week are Reece Bloomfield and Craig Bell. How important have they been this season, and who else in the squad would you give a mention to has been kind of vital parts of the squad?
Oh, I could go on all day with that one, but Reece Bloomfield, I know that. Sorry, my mind's going from us here. Is it Scott at Armadale? The manager? Colin. He's Colin. Sorry, Colin Strickland. That's what it is. I knew there was an S in it. I listened to a podcast the other week, and I hear that he kind of singled him out, and a few guys have noticed Reece. Reece has been the skipper this year. Dalkeith game, he was unbelievable. Craig Bella, he's scoring for fun this season. I think he's got up to about 15, 16 overall. Last couple of weeks, he's having a bit of a dry spell. I'm sure he'll hate us for mentioning that, but he's mentioned it. So, but just the work rate and everything he gives us. The two young lads we've got in the midfield now. I'm really happy that we've actually fully signed Riley Lightfoot from Gala. That was a massive signing for us. Cammy Howden, just basically you could name a lot of the lads. Ross, who's played at a high level. He's played for Gallagher for years. He's a player coach and he's a massive help to us, on and off the pitch and things like that. So he's obviously a massive help. And just the lads as a whole, there's a core group have stayed around. And what I have been most happy about this year is a lot of the new guys have interacted and have, it's been, they just kind of, they feel like they've played with each other for about 5 seasons now.
Yeah. No, it's definitely eye-catching to see, and I think it's important in a squad. Like, you look at it as quite not a light squad, but I think it's a tight-knit squad, as you undoubtedly agree.
Yeah.
But one thing that jumps out is you've got kind of a lot of the same kind of players kind of playing vital roles, and I think that's always a key to any type of side. In terms of, we'll obviously get your thoughts on the victory at the weekend as we kind of talk about the second division, but we'll start with the games over the weekend. It was a fairly quiet league weekend. There wasn't a lot of action. I think obviously that was the last weekend, I would say, where it's going to be fairly quiet before we get to the kind of the busy May period. But we'll start with the Premier Division. Broxburn won 3-1 away to Dundonald Bluebell. Kev, it looks like Broxburn are near enough home and dry. I think I'm right in saying they only need 1 win now to win the title. Full credit to them for getting to the position they're in. Obviously, difficult place to go to Dundonald and get that result. Douglas and Brash with goals again. Nimmo scoring another one. How impressed have you been with Broxburn, and can they be a side that can go on and potentially next season be a decent team in a Lowland League?
Well, I'll be honest with you, looking at some of the because I like to look at a lot of the YouTube highlights throughout the season, and I know there was question marks when they got themselves to the top with the hold on, and I think they've just answered that because the couple of times I've seen them, I mean, I think the home advantage gives them. They seem to play really well on that AstroTurf up there.
Yeah.
We actually played East Houses there on that pitch. But when you see the style of football they play, it's just fast, it's intense. They're always looking to finish teams quickly. If they keep the core of them and I don't see a reason why they couldn't. I'm not saying they're going to go on and win the Lowland, but I can certainly see them, certainly not being in the relegation scrap there. I could see them progressing. So I think within a couple of years we could be talking about them.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely fair enough. And one thing, obviously, with the pyramid playoff, where I mean, I don't think I'm going to upset a lot of people with what I'm going to say here. Is I think Beith are pretty much nailed on to win the West. They can't go up. Looking like it's going to be between Broxburn, and it looks like they'll beat you in the south. Much as I respect Eddie, they'll beat you and a lot of the players there. I fancy Broxburn to win that, and I think they are a side like we've seen in the past. Trinentin and Lithgow, very, very impressive starts they've had in the Lowland League. Broxburn can do the same, and I think it shows again. This is going to be the third East. This is likely going to be the third East team to go up to the Lowland League. They're capable. Now, I mean, in Broxburn, I'll be looking at that going. We can get up there as well. In terms of obviously the kind of other teams in the league, we'll go with Musselburgh 1-0 away to Crossgates. They're keeping pressure on Broxburn. Kev, Reid with a goal for Musselburgh. They've got 2 games in hand. Probably too late to really threaten for the title again. Stranger things have happened, but Musselburgh, I think, deserve a lot of credit as well. They've been fairly impressive as well this season. They can take a lot of pride for their season.
Oh, 100%. I've seen what Liam Burns has done up there, and I think he's done a really good job. I mean, the Scottish Cup run alone was just great, and things from. I've actually, in the past, I've actually loaned a couple of players from Musselburgh, so I like what happens at Musselburgh. I used to know Joe before Liam took on, and things like that. But I think Liam's done a great job there. My son's actually involved in the junior setup at Musselburgh, and so I know he does a lot with the technical edge and things like that. But I think he's done a great job. I mean, obviously there'll be disappointment that he's not quite at the top there, but I mean, I can only see them pushing on if he keeps a lot of the players. So I think he'll be one for the title contention next season.
Yeah, I think so. I think that league next season is going to be very, very competitive with who should be coming up, and I think there's a lot of teams here who can kick on. One side that I've been very impressed with in recent weeks, and I think a new manager bounce has certainly been apparent, is Lancarty. 4-2 at home at Dunbar, which not a lot of teams can do, but just in terms of their kind of home games over the past few weeks, I think they've won the last 4 at home, Lancarty. And if they are going to stay up, which looks fairly positive now, they're going to look at those home games. They've won 7 games. I think 6 of the 7 have been at home. shows get results in your home patch, and you can. I mean, it can just work wonders for you, can't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was actually at Coldstream last season with Kieran Ainsley and Luncarty. We obviously seen them a couple of times. We actually beat them at the start of the season, which was a shocker. But then we've seen them up there. And I mean, to be honest, pure and simply, it had to be the managerial change at the start because we thought they'd do really well. I mean, the lad, I think it's Scarborough, the winger. He's a cracking player.
Yeah, Rhys Davis as well deserves a lot of credit. He's been very good.
Honestly, really, they've got some really good players there. So I think another one. I think they'll be fine next season. Honestly, I think pure and simple. I think obviously there was a bit of unrest with the managerial change, but I can only see them going up the table.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they're in a good position as well to do so. Dunbar, I think fairly solid, but I think if you spoke to likes of Kev and Gary, I think they'll be fairly disappointed they haven't been closer to top. But you look at the kind of way how competitive the season is. There's been some kind of fail. I think they've won 14, lost 9. I think they'll look at that as a solid season, but I think the likes of Kev will be looking at that going, we should have been higher up.
Oh, 100%. I'm not saying he'll not be. He might be mildly disappointed, but I know for a fact he'll have wanted to stay higher.
Yeah.
Dunbar's another team. They're fairly close to where we are. I've got a good relationship with the under-20s manager. I've messaged Kevin a couple of times about a couple of things, and it's a really good setup up there. But I know for a fact that they will have aimed higher, so he will be a little bit disappointed where they are at the moment.
Final game in the Premier Division was Canoe 0, Tynecastle 0. Canoe, I think it's going to be difficult for. I think they are near enough down. I think it's mathematically impossible for them to stay up. But again, been a difficult season, obviously back up in the Premier Division. Tynecastle probably on our side. I think Rob will be fairly content with just a bit of solidity in there, and probably just looking ahead to next season already.
I seen a couple of games where I'll be honest, it's kind of been a mixed bag. So I'm not sure where. I'll be honest. Tynecastle's one of them. You know, I can remember them when they were a massive club and were pushing forward, but I don't actually know a great deal about their score at the moment. So I'm not sure how far on he expects them to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's been your kind of surprise package in the Premier Division this season? I mean, I look at Hotchie Vale have done really well. Like Hallabees, I think the managerial change there has worked wonders. Who's kind of stood out to you in the Premier Division in terms of kind of teams that have punched above?
Well, I'd say we talked about it before, but I think I thought Musselburgh were a decent enough team, but I didn't think they'd actually be pushing that far on.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame that obviously there's a little bit of a difference with the points there now, but I thought they'd be up there with like your Dunbars and Haddingtons and things like that, but I was quite shocked that they were actually pushing for the title at one stage. So hats off to them. So I think they were the surprise package.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been very, very good season for Musselburgh. I think a few teams can take a lot of credit. In the First Division, we know who's going to be a team that's going to be in the Premier Division next season. Congratulations to Danny Smith and his side at Donny Pace. They have clinched promotion to the Premier Division. Sam Colley with a double. He's been one of the standout players in the league for me this season. And Donny Pace, again, full credit to them, and a side who can really go far next season, I think, if they keep their core.
Oh, definitely. Another team, we've been up there a few times up at the Astro, and that Danny, I like the way he handles the team. You know who's boss. But I like the way he goes about business. And at the time when we played them, I think it was 2 seasons ago, you could tell there was a good core there, and you knew it was going to be. I mean, they even had another one that had a decent little cup run, scored some upsets in there. And the sad thing is, at the time, the way they were going, I don't think it was that much of an upset. But no, I think they thoroughly deserve it.
What do you think about the teams that could join them this season? I mean, St Andrews probably will have been disappointed with their result at the weekend of the cup, which we'll get into. But you'd probably say 2 out of the 4 in terms of St Andrews, Camelin, Newton Grange, Whitburn. I think, and I don't know if you'll agree, obviously St Andrews of the games, I would lean towards Whitburn as well. Like, I think Whitburn could potentially upset the apple cart here. Camelin, I'm not sure if the change there is going to work yet. They've obviously got 7 games left to play. I think it's going to be a very exciting end to the season in that league.
Definitely. I would not just agree with you because you says I was looking at the table, obviously knowing I was coming on, had a quick look, and I would totally agree. I would lean towards Whitburn. You know what they're about. You can see what they're. The surprising thing, obviously, is just I wouldn't say the wheels coming off, but obviously what's happened at Camelin.
Yeah.
The change was a bit of a surprise at the time. Once I seen who they were bringing in, you kind of thought, all right, they're gonna. We've made the change to try and tip them over the edge, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's not quite worked the way obviously they thought it would. So I would actually say you have to put your money somewhere. I think Whitburn might edge it.
A massive game for them. For them, obviously this will go out on Tuesday, but a massive game against Leith. Leith at home. Leith are a side obviously can be taken fairly seriously. Probably, I would say the team, the best of the rest outside the top five at the moment. There's a couple of sides in there I want to give a mention to as well who have really impressed me this season. We know kind of two are going to go down. I really, really like the job that Banji's done at Heriot Watt, and I like the job that Phil's done at Armiston as well, just to get them back into a winning mentality. I think they're two sides that I would give a serious mention to this season.
Mm-hmm. Banji basically at Heriot Watt. You kind of spoke before about the Dalkeith game and things like that, and it was actually a cup game I had against them guys.
Yeah.
And even though we lost, one of the best performances we had all season.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually sent us a message afterwards, just commending how we played and things like that, and actually shared it with the guys. And he's one I've got a lot of respect for. So that meant a lot coming from him. And when he sent that, and you mentioned Arniston, one of my good mates is actually the assistant manager there.
Right.
He was actually when we tried to start up Plymouth, which felt like a lifetime ago now. Roddy, he's there, so obviously I get to hear quite a lot what's going on there. I mean, the lad, is it Laidlaw?
Yeah.
He's going to Berwick, I think, next season.
Yeah.
Obviously, he'll be a hard one to try and replace. But speaking to Roddy all the time, what they've got plans and the mentality they've got, I think another one. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll push on. I think it's just a blip. What some of the games they had this season, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think obviously as well, kind of one thing that saved them, and I don't mean any disrespect with this, with what I'm going to say about Taylor Leedon and Oakley obviously coming down is that they've been able to kind of not panic too much about relegation because obviously of what's been going on in the league, like obviously the Ross Side situation. So I don't think that was ever in doubt, but I think there was obviously a bit like I remember Falcon on the show and he was talking about that. He said, we know that we're probably going to be safe, but in terms of results, they've not been what we want. And I like hearing that from a manager because how many managers would say just staying up is enough? There's managers who'll be looking at that going, right, we're far better than the position we're in. And I like that about Phil. And anytime I've kind of listened to him and spoke to him, he's been very vocal about that. I think there's a lot of sides in there as well who have done really well. And I think next season that could be another league that could be very exciting as well. Moving into the second division, we'll obviously start with Edinburgh United 2, Tweedmouth 4. Own goal, Heath, Howden and Lightfoot with the goals for Tweedmouth. Big result, obviously one away from home. How do you assess the game on Saturday?
I would definitely say it was definitely the right way. I think first half I would say that kind of edged them just. Thought we panicked a couple of times just for some silly things. Second half just came out the blocks, dominated. I was actually really disappointed that we lost the two late goals. Kind of took a bit of shine off the whole thing. Unfortunately, I think it's a case of when you're watching a team like Edinburgh United at the time. Once the first goal went in, you can see confidence isn't great at the moment because they've not had a great run at the moment. And of course, as soon as that goal went in, you can see it kind of knocked them. So we just pressed and obviously, you know what I'll be thinking the few days before. So really happy to get that one out of the way.
What do you think, Edinburgh United? Obviously, it's another side that are obviously going to find that a struggle to stay up. What do you think of them kind of going forward? Were you impressed with some parts of their game? Obviously, they're a side that you kind of want to see do well. I know they had a difficult kind of position losing their manager early in the season. Do you think they'll be a side that can come back next season?
I if they keep the players and add a couple, I think they'll be fine. They've got players like Ewan Donaldson in the middle, who I thought was superb. They had a lad number 10. Apologies, he's it's no in the head at the minute, but he had a decent little game. The left back was decent. I think the keeper Fraser, he's been there a wee while now. I mean, you can see. I mean, like I said, it's one of those. You can see the confidence was low. They were trying to play football. They are a decent little side when they're wanting to play football. So as long as he keeps them together, I think Unfortunately, where we're standing, I would rather they went down than us. But I do think they'll be okay if they do go down. I think they'll come back.
Bo'ness Athletic obviously moved a step closer towards wrapping up the title. 5-2 away win over East Houses. I want to single out East Houses in a minute because I've been very impressed with them in recent weeks.
Yeah.
Bo'ness though, Sandy Cunningham with 4 goals. They've got a massive game tonight as we're recording against Drumchapel in the Cup Winners' Shield for a chance to go into the Senior Scottish Cup. Wally's been on the show. I've sang their praises all season. In terms of Bo'ness, you've come up against them. What is it? I know they've got the depth and the talent. What is it that impresses you about Bo'ness?
Just persistence. Yeah, simple persistence. You don't get a chance to play. You don't get a chance to. We like to play out from the back at times within reason. They try to stop that. The type of football. I mean, you can talk about tippy-tappy, tiki-taka football, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that they've got it down to a fine art, and Willie's obviously worked hard on that. You mentioned squad depth. They're bringing in, you speak to coaches all around and they'll tell you when you have a starting 11, you bring players on. Sometimes you're taking off a 7 and bringing on a 5 or a 6. These guys, when they're bringing on their subs, nothing changes. Basically, the squad depth they've got, you've got 16 players and the 6 that are sitting on the bench are very hard done by that they're not starting. It's simple what they've got there, but it's just like I said, I would say persistence with them.
East Houses as well, a lot of credit has to go to them for their performances in recent weeks. They've been a side, obviously, that have probably underachieved this season, but you look at their form before, obviously, their 2 home games. They won 4 in a row. Beating Edinburgh United, beating Edinburgh South, beating obviously yourself 3-0, and then 3-2 away to Coldstream. They're a side that I think next season, just to get a bit of solidity and just probably the kind of league evens out a wee bit. I think they're going to be a side to really take seriously going into next season.
Well, I seen over the weekend that they had a hell of a lot of posts saying re-signings. So he's clearly keeping ball. Some of the guys I've seen, I'm thinking, they're just going to get better and better. Because he seems to have he's brought in quite a bit of younger players in there that are doing well as the older heads like Sean Hill and Yanni. And I mean, I think Yanni's going to play again. I mean, he's pulling the strings in the middle there, and young lads are just enjoying playing around him. So I think they will. They're one of the teams that, unfortunately, when you've been doing this a while in the east of Scotland, you kind of think they're one of the teams that will get the Christmas and the kind of tail off. Well, I haven't this year, and I think they've obviously had some sort of blip to be where they are. But as you says, I think they've been playing really, really well, and hats off to Davy.
Yeah, absolutely. Edinburgh South 1-3-1 away to Kennaway. Edinburgh South have got the games. We've got 9 games between now and the end of the season. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. In terms of East House, in terms of Edinburgh South, they've got the games. They're 8 points behind Armadale. 4 games. They've played 4 games more. 4 games less. Sorry. Can they do it? Are they a side that can? It's going to be very interesting to see what they do.
I'll be completely honest. We played them once. We still got to play them again this season. When we played them, both teams, it was during the, you couldn't get a game on for love nor money. So neither team played for 3 weeks. And I even spoke to the manager after. We both agreed it was an awful game of football. It was sluggish. They won 2-0, but it was one of those games of we could have won 2-0. It was just whoever got the first goal seemed to win. But I mean, the last half of the season, they've just absolutely kicked on. And I mean, if you look at the rate, and it's not just they're not just scraping wins either. They're battering some teams. Yeah. And you look, I mean, 4 games and the points they've got, was it 7 points, 8 points? I mean, if you'd asked us 3 months ago, I would have said Armadale were an absolute shoo-in to go up. But I think at the moment, I can't see Edinburgh South being stopped. So I think they might just flip it.
Big results for Edinburgh College as well. They won 4-1 at home to Burnt Island. I don't actually have their scorers. I have been trying to get them. Coldstream as well, 1-0 home win over Newborough. Two sides that will be fairly content with how they performed this season.
Newborough, I mean, it's a shame to watch. Obviously, I think they're on their third manager of the season. But when we were up there, they're actually a really good team, and they are actually improving, which is, I think the Thornton Hibs game was maybe the one objection to the rule, because, I mean, and let's be honest, Thornton Hibs at the minute, that's not, it's no bad thing to be hammered off of them guys at the minute, but I think they've really improved. I think the manager's working with a lot of younger players there, and I think he's trying to keep them going. Commendable to him, and I mean, you look at, obviously with the games being off, they've had a hell of a lot of away games recently. But if you look at the team sheets, they've got 17-18 every time. So obviously the guys are travelling, so they must still be playing for this manager. So hats off to them. If he can bring a couple older heads in, I think he could come back. Unfortunately, I think they're gone at the moment. I think they're down. I can't see a way back for them. Coldstream, obviously, I was there last season with Kieran. They got rid of Kieran early doors of the season, and I know they've had a bit of a. They brought a coaching team in, it didn't really work, and they brought another coaching team in, and I think they're just kind of in that transitional period where they have lost a few players. So I mean, they'll be happy to get a win off there, and I definitely think they're one they're looking to get to the end of the season, and obviously wanting to kick on for next. So I think they're just looking to get the season out of the way and then see what they could do next season.
In terms of the third division, West Calder looking pretty good for promotion. They won 3-0 at home to Stonyburn. Bathgate, I think, are going to join them. They won 5-1 away to Edinburgh Community. Again, two sides that have been very, very consistent, and sides that I think you'll be keeping an eye on next year.
Oh yeah, we played. Obviously, we played West Calder in the cup, and we actually played in the pre-season to start with. It wasn't a great day of the pre-season because half my team didn't turn up and things like that, literally. And but we played them in the cup, and it was a much more competitive game. But they're definitely a side with quality. Hart Hill, we had them in a cup game as well. I kind of touched on at the start there. Massively improved. You can see what they've done there compared to. I mean, I didn't see them last season, but obviously you've seen where they were in the table. So massive improvement there. And Bathgate, not seen a great deal of them. Unfortunately, they're the one I've kind of missed out on. But obviously, I mean, looking at the position, I mean, they're definitely coming up this season. But they're definitely going to bring some questions with them and some quality.
I thought Hoyk would be the team to really contend for third. They had obviously Linton Hotspur beating them 2-1 away from home as a massive result for Linton, and a lot of people have said Linton are a team to take seriously next season. I firmly go along with that. In terms of third place, I think now it will be Hart Hill Royal, but I think Hart Hill have been superb this season. As you said at the start of the show, to even be in contention for promotion, I think is an absolute massive achievement for them.
Yeah, 100%. Just as you're talking about there, Hoyk, knowing Kenny and seeing the results they had there, that's been a massive blow at the weekend, because it was going to be hard to try and stay in contention, but unfortunately, I think that one's kind of knocked them out now. I think if they'd won at the weekend, they still had a chance, but unfortunately, with just the two game difference, I can only see Hart Hill clinging on to the third now.
Yeah, absolutely. A side that have been good as well. Faulthouse won 3-2 at home to Lochgelly. Huge result. First win of the season for Livingston United. Won 3-1 at home to Pumferson. Probably kick-start kind of kibosh any hope of Pumferson challenging for promotion as well. Big result for Livingston United as well. Faulthouse, big result for them. Two really good performances as well this weekend from Faulthouse and Livingston United.
Yeah, Old House, unfortunately, another one. I've seen a couple of little things on them, but it was a wee while ago. I haven't seen much of them lately. Livingston, for them. Lad I know who's actually on loan is the keeper there, Aaron Jones. He was at Dalkeith. We had him briefly before Christmas. Great lad, so I know that he's absolutely buzzing. So really pleased for him. And obviously, to get your first win this time of the season. Kind of little snippets I'm hearing. They could possibly be looking to do a Hart Hill. I think they're looking to bring in a few players.
Mm-hmm.
You briefly touched on Linton. I know Kingy's doing a good job there. He's kind of went in there, and it's like I've been involved in a team where you're first coming in, you're trying to start up a team in the east of Scotland. It's hard, it's difficult.
Yeah, of course.
Trying to get the quality in there, and I know for a fact he's getting the players in now that he's looking for. So I think, as you says, I think he'll be one to look out for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a wee review in cup action as well. Second round, Glenrothes beat Hart Hill 1-0, Hillaby 3, Thornton 2, Locore 2, Camelin 1, probably the result of the weekend, I would say, in the cups. Arniston won 3-2 against Kirkcaldy in the third round, Sauchie 5, Blackburn 0, Blackburn 3, Jeanfield 1, Whitehill 1, Preston 3, and in the King Cup, St Andrews beat Ormiston 8-1 away from home. Probably two results that stand out there are Locore 2, Camelin 1, and Blackburn Jeanfield 3-1. I didn't see probably two results nobody saw coming.
The Locore one definitely not, and obviously with what's going on with Camelin, it's kind of where they're at the moment. Seem to be stop start all the time at the minute. But if anything, I thought with where they are in the league, I thought that might have gotten in their head too much. And no disrespect to the League Cup, but you're obviously thinking their eyes would just be concentrating on the promotion. So that was a bit of a shock to watch. But no, good on them, and just shows you where they actually are at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned obviously Bonessa played Drumchapel in the Cup Winners' Shield. I think the winner of obviously that'll be a round robin between them and Nithsdale as well. So interesting. And Boness, I think Boness playing in a Scottish Cup would be very, very good for them. I think that'd be quite a nice thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be a very good game as well. I think Drumchapel and Boness are two very evenly matched sides, so quite intrigued to see how that goes. Looking ahead to Tuesday night, massive game for Tweedmouth, obviously away to Ormiston Primrose, who have got the games to kind of make a real challenge of this. How important could this result be for the kind of positive kind of feel at Tweedmouth at the moment? If that was to end up in an away victory, how good would that feel?
Oh, it would be absolutely immense. It's obviously we're kind of right in the middle right now of a two-step challenge. Basically, we had Edinburgh United at the weekend, and obviously Ormiston this weekend, and goes without saying the two directly below us. Step one's done. We know what we need to do. Obviously Ormiston, I mean, they kind of pulled one right out the hat 2 weeks ago when they got the victory over Dalkeith. That kind of knocked the stuffing out of it, to put it politely. And then obviously the People's game and St Andrews, but so I mean, I know it was 8-1, but let's be honest, it was St Andrews, and I don't think anyone really expected them to get a victory there. But you never know in this league. You never know what team is going to turn up. The mentality and things like that. At the moment, I think my boys are up for it, but we're all going to say that. But fingers crossed it goes my way. But obviously, if we do win, it is massive mentally. Yes, I know that they've got the games in hand and things like that, but hopefully we can then push on, try and get a few more points, and not only keep them at bay. I'm actually looking just above us as well, because obviously if we win that game, you never know what's going to happen next.
No, absolutely, and obviously, kind of other games that really catch the eye over the midweek. I mean, you look at obviously Sauchie Jeanfield. I think will be a good game. I think Whitburn here at Watt will be an exciting game as well on Tuesday night. One game that jumps out on Wednesday is Newton Grange versus St Andrews. That could have a massive impact on promotion from the First Division. A lot of exciting games, and it's now at that stage, obviously, with kind of midweek. It's midweek and Saturday. Busy time, but it's important for a lot of players, a lot of managers to be in the right frame of mind going into this. And I think this is the kind of point of the season. Everybody talks about the end of the season once it gets to that kind of point where the lighter nights, games come thick and fast. They really do.
Yeah. to be honest, looking at the fixtures, touch wood, as long as we don't, we don't lose any out. We're actually, I would say, we're actually one of the better ones. We've got 5 games left now. We've got this midweek game, and then we're basically Saturdays all the way. I think it was Kenaway Hearts. They've got 1 week where they've got 4 games. They've got Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and at the end of that week, we're the 4th game. So we'll see how Kenaway's looking at that point. But you look at the fixtures, and unfortunately, with the way the weather's been, which goes back to what I said about our groundsman, he's possibly been a godsend because we haven't got that many fixtures picking up. So it's a hard time. You know yourself, and trying to keep the players as well, and trying to keep everybody. You've got injuries, suspensions, and mentality is the main thing. Just keeping them in the right frame of mind. So touch wood, we've got that as well.
Yeah, and how important is it, obviously, to kind of get into the summer? Obviously, kind of touch wood. Obviously, you kind of cling on to first division, second division. You kind of look ahead to kind of next season. How important is next season going to be? What's the kind of changes the club are looking to make, and how do you kind of see the future at Tweedmouth going?
Well, obviously, it goes without saying all clubs are speaking to players, and we've got a few in mind. We've got a few targets in mind, which I think will improve and progress where we are. I was happy enough, like I said, with the signings we've made over the last few months. And obviously, if we do stay up, I think the higher leagues you're in the pyramid system, obviously means you get a chance to get the higher standards of players. So obviously it goes without saying it would be beneficial to stay in this league. So that's the first aim, and then looking to bring in some quality to hopefully push on. And obviously I don't want to be speaking to you this stage of the season, next season, being in the same position.
No,
so just looking to push on, pure and simple.
Yeah, no, well, as I say, Kev, I can't thank you enough for joining me in this week's episode. Thoroughly wish you all the best for the rest of the season, and kind of well done again for the job you're doing at Tweedmouth. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it.
Always appreciated. Thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in. Please join us for the next episode of the East of Scotland, and as always, for more coverage, follow us on social media. We'll see you all soon. Thank you.